Tonight, a warning to seniors about financing renovations that could keep you on the hook with interest, unable to sell your home. An OC Transpo double-decker bus heightens undesired notoriety after rolling into a farm boy grocery store. Plus, slashed funding that could keep kids living with autism from camp this summer. Good evening. We begin tonight with dozens of elderly people in Ontario who say they've been forced to pay big bucks for shoddy renovations. And it's all thanks to a financial instrument that was supposed to be eliminated in this province years ago. CTV's John Woodward explains.
This is the kitchen they done.
Stephen and Catherine Johnson say they were promised renovations by contractors going door to door.
They were supposed to put all this in. That was here when we bought the house.
The retired 67 and 72-year-olds say they never got their new bathtub. The appliances weren't the ones they ordered. And as for their kitchen flooring,
got that big crack in there.
It was just laid down on top of their old linoleum that they can see through a crack. They say it was 3 days' work. The total cost for all of this, over $100,000.
I wouldn't even give them a nickel for that stuff.
The Johnsons didn't want to pay, but the financing company, Alternative Financial Group, put what's called a lodgement on their home. That means they can't sell their house unless they pay up with interest.
Makes us feel rotten.
They're not the only people whose deals are enforced through lodgements. The Advocacy Centre for the Elderly, or ACE, has been keeping track of dozens of cases, some where the work done is as much as $40,000, even though the item can be bought for only a few $100s. Court documents allege the contractors often come back for more. In one case, multiple $40,000 charges in a row.
We don't know the total number of people impacted, but we would expect it's in the hundreds, if not thousands.
ACE alleges the person behind Alternative Financial Group is someone you've seen before, Anas Ayub, who posted videos to social media of himself living the high life. His lawyer answered our questions by saying no comment. Ayub was among those charged criminally in 2024 in what the OPP called a door-to-door sales fraud, using a similar financial instrument called a nosy. Ontario's government wiped all of those nosies off the books 2 years ago. New lodgements were banned, but older ones are still enforceable.
All of the lodgements that we've seen that were registered by this company, that were registered just before the deadline hit, that the land titles office had said you can't register after this date.
Thousands of these lodgements still are out there.
The NDP's Tom Rakocevic says those lodgements need to go too.
We in the NDP are going to be tabling a bill very soon to delete and expire all lodgements from the land registry here in Ontario.
The Johnsons hope that can happen soon. They don't want to have to pay anyone for work like this. John Woodward, CTV News.
Turning now to a dramatic scene east of downtown this afternoon, an OC Transpo bus detaching from a tow truck and careening into the side of a busy grocery store at Train Yards. It happened around 1 o'clock this afternoon at the Farm Boy store on Belfast Road. OC Transpo says the decommissioned bus was being towed to a maintenance facility when it came loose and made contact with the building. OC Transpo, police, fire, and MTO, the Ministry of Transportation, responded to the scene.
The bus was being towed by our OC Transpo towing, and there was something that happened with the disconnection of the vehicle, and currently MTO is working on what could have created that disconnect.
Potential charges that could be laid under the Highway Traffic Act include having an insecure load, but the situation is still under investigation. Now for a first check on weather, let's head outside. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. The temperature right now sitting in the teens, or actually low 20s, 22 degrees at this time. Let's take a look at what else you can expect over the next 24 hours. Lots of sunshine tomorrow morning, a daytime high of 22 degrees where we're currently sitting. 24 degrees later in the afternoon is what we'll rise to. There's a chance we could see some late evening or late night showers, just a slight 30% chance there. And questions were raised at Queen's Park today over the construction timeline and costs of the Ottawa Hospital's new Civic Campus. An Ottawa MPP suggesting the final price tag could be billions over budget and that those ballooning costs could land in part on Ottawa taxpayers. CTV's Tyler Fleming has more.
Lee Boucher and sister-in-law Nicole regularly walk near Dow's Lake, watching the progress of the new Civic Campus hospital.
We go to the Civic now. We got top-notch doctors and nurses. We'll be glad it's there. It's going to be awesome.
So far, the project consists of a nearly completed parking garage, while the hospital remains a hole in the ground, which Ottawa South MPP John Fraser says has no end in sight.
It's a decade in on this project since it's got its first funding.
At Queen's Park on Tuesday, Fraser raising concerns the timeline could go well into the 2030s after a comment made by a hospital consultant at a City of Ottawa committee last month. Fraser also suggesting the original near $3 billion price tag will skyrocket.
So we have a local share that's going to be approaching $1 billion from about $300 million. $1 billion now. So that's a lot on the residents of Ottawa.
Many residents not surprised.
I think we're used to it now, you know? We're just used to them screwing up and we're paying with the tax dollars.
The fact that it's not even past the design stage and into implementation is horrifying.
The Ontario Health Coalition calls the new campus a key healthcare facility and wants more action from the province to push its completion.
The hospitals are completely overwhelmed. They've got portables outside. They're using garages. Like, at what point do we say it's an emergency, all boots on the ground, fix the hospital system in Ottawa?
The Ottawa Hospital says the parking garage is expected to open this summer and that it is finalizing the design and construction timeline for the hospital, one which Boucher expects to be a world-class facility when its doors do open.
I might not be around when it's built.
Tyler Fleming, CTV News.
Now, as this plays out, there's something else top of mind for another Ottawa MPP. NDP Education Shadow Minister Chandra Pasma wants to keep students cool in school as the mercury rises.
This bill, if passed, would set a maximum temperature in schools and school buses of 26 degrees Celsius. It would also require school boards to develop heat strategy plans that include the use of mechanical ventilation systems like heat pumps and air conditioning, adaptations to school buildings and schoolyards such as green roofs, energy-efficient windows and doors, planting trees and installing exterior blinds.
Pasma introduced the Fighting the Extreme Heat in Schools Act today at Queen's Park. The NDP wants the province to invest in safe, modern classrooms with air conditioning. Last June, both the Ottawa Public and Catholic School Board said all schools have at least one area with partial or portable air conditioning. The air in the Dwyer Hill area filling with smoke and flames this afternoon. Almost 60 firefighters responded to multiple 911 calls for a barn fire on Franktown Road near Dwyer Hill Road around 1 p.m. No animals or people or firefighters were hurt. According to officials, high western winds fanned the flames as they tore through the heritage structure. It was fully engulfed within 30 minutes.
When you have a wind-driven fire, you have to be very aware of your surroundings. The fire conditions can change very quickly based on the gusts of wind, and you just have to combat it. That you're obviously in a position that if you have to evacuate or you have to move out of the way, you do so safely.
There is no estimate on the damage. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. In other news, a 29-year-old man is facing charges in connection to a series of thefts targeting retail stores, garages, and vehicles across Ottawa. Police say the arrest helped solve 40 different investigations. These thefts and break-ins happened between March and May of this year. The suspect is facing more than 100 charges, including theft under $5,000, break-and-enter, and fraudulent use of a credit card. Investigators believe total financial losses for victims and property owners exceed $100,000. Police say the stolen items include electronics and tools, along with those credit cards. Ontario is investing $400,000 to help support victims and prevent crimes here in Ottawa. The province announcing today nearly $200,000 for Family Services Ottawa. The funding will help train youth peer educators to lead workshops focused on healthy relationships and intimate partner violence prevention. Ottawa Victim Services is receiving $199,000 for crisis counselors to provide on-site support.
The opportunity to have a prevention initiative, for an early intervention initiative, is not something we often get to do when we're in this front line, kind of put out the fire, respond sector, and it's hugely important. It's very buoying for all of us to be able to have this opportunity.
Across Ontario, the province is allocating $5 million in cash and proceeds seized from criminals to help law enforcement and community organizations strengthen public safety. Also, a bill that would allow misbehaving municipal politicians in Ontario to be fired is one step closer to becoming law. Bill 9, the Municipal Accountability Act, passed by a vote of 110-1 at Queen's Park.
Bill 9 is an important step in ensuring women and all municipal employees are protected in Ontario. We've been working on this for 6 years. As John mentioned, Ottawa was really ground zero for bringing this issue to light with the situation with Mr. Shirelli and his excessive abuses of employees in his office.
The bill would standardize codes of conduct for municipalities across Ontario and gives council the power to remove and disqualify councillors from office if they are found to be in serious violation. The legislation comes in response to the findings from the City of Ottawa's Integrity Commissioner that former councillor Rick Shirelli harassed and bullied female staff. In the meantime, an Ottawa charity supporting kids and young adults living with autism is sounding the alarm tonight. Children at Risk says its funding through the federal government's Summer Jobs Grant is being cut, putting their summer camp at risk. Here's CTV's Austin Lee.
For parents of kids with autism, Camp Kaleidoscope is an annual highlight.
The support of the staff means that the kids keep their dignity as well.
Really, our entire schedule for our entire family revolves around camp starting and camp coming around again. So it's something that's been a pivot point for our family for the last 14 years now.
But now the future of the camp is at risk.
On April 14th, we received a decision from Canada Summer Jobs that we had a 50% cut in the number of jobs from last year, which was a 75% cut from the year before.
The federal government is shifting its focus for the Canada Summer Jobs program to support young workers in other sectors like trades and environmental protection. Those changes mean Children at Risk, the registered charity that runs the camp, is struggling.
We had no idea that on April 14th, when we had declared that we don't get any other funding, that we would be told that we only get 10 jobs, which is, we applied for 67.
The organization says it continues to advocate for more funding from the government to no avail. They've been able to make some sacrifices to add just one more job, bringing the number of camp counselors this year to 11. But
we provide a one-to-one support, counselor to child. So that way the child is safe, protected, even celebrated for their differences.
And for parents, the pressure the camp faces is devastating.
He'll ask things hundreds of times in a row. Camp Kaleidoscope, Camp Kaleidoscope. He'll stand in front of the calendar with his pen, waiting for me to put it on the calendar so he knows it'll happen. And I can't do that if I don't know the camp is going to run.
There's such a great need in the city and such a lack of services. It's really difficult to find safe environments for a child that lives with autism.
Children at Risk is holding out hope the federal government will change course.
Disabilities just don't seem to be top of mind today for the support out there through the government, and we want to know why.
Austin Lee, CTV News.
CTV News did hear back from the government late this afternoon. Part of their statement reads, the Canada Summer Jobs Program does not provide core funding to organizations. Applications were assessed on an individual basis to ensure that employers, projects, and job activities aligned with program objectives meet the program eligibility criteria and represent quality work experiences for youth.
This is faster than driving. This is faster than just going to the airport and catching a plane.
Coming up, high-speed rail with a new group coming forward to keep the main goals on track. We'll explain shortly. As the Habs prepare for their next game, there's rising excitement and plenty of support from a Gatineau bakery. Maison aux Deux on Saint-Raymond Boulevard is branding some of its bread with the Montreal Canadiens logo. It's their way of cheering on the team on their quest for the Stanley Cup, and the loaves have been selling out daily. It's 11:46 and time now for a closer look at the forecast after this stunning 28-degree day. Our satellite radar picture shows some clouds that were rolling into the region this evening. There's a slight chance we could see some showers overnight, but that is a very slight chance. We are expecting a partly cloudy sky overnight, a low of 14 degrees, and many municipalities in our region will see a low in that temperature. Bancroft slightly cooler at 10 degrees, Pembroke and Kitigan-Zibi 12 degrees overnight, as will be Maniwaki and Petawawa, and Gatineau. Montreal warmer at 17 degrees overnight. Taking a look at tomorrow's daytime highs, not as hot as today, but certainly very comfortable and above 20 degrees right across the region. 24 here in the capital, 25 in Cornwall, Brockville, Kingston and Trenton. Again, slightly cooler in Bancroft. At Bancroft, 21 in the valley overnight. In Maniwaki and Quebec, we'll see a daytime high of 21 degrees as well. Taking a look at that 7-day forecast now, you can again expect 24 degrees as a daytime high here in Ottawa for your Wednesday. Thursday, more sunshine in store. Wednesday night, though, again, look out for the increasing cloudiness in the afternoon. That could bring a slight chance of rain that evening or overnight. Friday, we could see some showers with a high of 20 degrees. Things cooling off leading into the weekend. 19 on Saturday with a chance of rain, 20 on Sunday, but mostly cloudy. Alto's high-speed rail between Ottawa and Montreal may be years away from rolling out, but there's a new group trying to gather steam for the project. CTV's Dylan Dyson reports on Go Alto.
Between Ottawa's LRT and Via Rail, David Bellarive wants a rail system that will get him where he wants to go.
Time we spend traveling right now, it's time we lose. And it's time we lose on things that we could spend with our family, doing work, or just enjoying life. And for me, that's why Alto matters a lot.
He's the voice behind Go Alto, a public campaign in support of the proposed high-speed rail project connecting Toronto to Ottawa and Quebec City.
Being able to do Ottawa-Toronto in 3 hours instead of 5, this is faster than driving. This is faster than just going to the airport and catching a plane for most people. And it is downtown to downtown.
The project is just getting started, with Alto holding information sessions and mailing letters to landowners for exploratory research, but being met with strong opposition from residents, communities, and some politicians. Go Alto says more Canadians are in favor of high-speed rail than against.
A recent survey by Probe Research shows that at least 61% of Canadians are in favor of the project.
Yeah, we should have more high-speed train everywhere.
If I had the option to take a high-speed rail to and from Toronto, Ottawa, I'd be happy to take that instead. Right now I'm using the bus and I find it convenient enough, but you know, I would hope that in the future, if a high-speed rail was available, I'd definitely be taking that more often.
There are many factors yet to be decided, such as where the high-speed line would pass through in Ontario, where it will stop in Ottawa, and if it should be built alongside the 400 series highways.
Highways are a bit problematic because they look straight when we're driving on them, but can you picture yourself driving 300 kilometers on the highway? The curves don't allow for that, and it's the same problem for a train.
There will be people opposing because of, you know, they have to expropriate, they have to do a lot of things. So I don't think we'll see it in 10 years' time, but it's a good idea that we start doing it.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News.
So I said, oh, just a minute. I don't think it's working. So I tried it, and it's exactly the way it was before he came in.
Coming up, a consumer warning about costly appliance repairs. Stay with us for that. A long-standing Chinese food restaurant in Ottawa's South End is set to close when its lease ends next month. In a post, the owners of Ruby Inn say the customers' loyalty has meant everything, and they thank the community for their support. The restaurant, located on Bank Street near Walkley Road, first opened in 1971. The last day will be June 28th. Well, it can be frustrating if you have an appliance breakdown, and it seems with some models, they don't make them like they used to. As CTV's Pat Foran reports, the cost can escalate quickly if the problem is not diagnosed properly the first time.
It's not working. No heat whatsoever.
Louise Renwick of Markham says in early May her 4-year-old oven quit working. She called Samsung, but then decided to go with what she thought was a local repair company. A technician came to her home and charged her almost $800 to change a temperature sensor, but the oven still wouldn't turn on.
So I said, oh, just a minute. I don't think it's working. So I tried it, and it's exactly the way it was before he came in.
She was then told it was the oven's main board that needed replacing. They offered a 10% discount on the part, but with taxes and labor, repairs would be more than what she paid for the stove in the first place.
They won't come back unless I agree to pay another $700-800 on top of the $800 I've already given them.
She hired the A-Team Appliance Repair, which was the first company to pop up in a Google search. On the invoice, it says A-Team Appliance Repair works out of this building in Markham, but the security guard said they left 5 months ago. Our emails to the company were not returned. When we called them, they hung up.
Thank you for calling Appliance Repair Team.
Hello, Lisa speaking. How may I help you today?
Hi, it's Pat Foran calling from CTV News. We're just trying to speak to someone about a complaint. Hello?
That is a very high number of complaints.
The Better Business Bureau says in the past 3 years, there have been 732 complaints filed against the company, and they've been given an F, the Bureau's lowest rating. There's a pattern of complaints.
Consumers are alleging that the company is unable to properly diagnose and repair the appliances effectively, and the cost of repairs are grossly inflated.
The BBB suggests checking its website for reviews, calling a manufacturer directly, and to realize some companies pay Google to be the first to pop up in online searches. As for Renwick, she's putting her money towards a new stove, not more repairs.
I can buy a new one for $1,200. That's better than this stove.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
She was just a real example all our lives of all the things that we all aspire to be.
Coming up, happy 103rd birthday, Mary Hope. We'll bring you right into the bash on the other side of the break. A very important birthday celebration took place today for one remarkable woman celebrating a milestone few ever reach. Friends and family gathered to honor Margaret Hope, who turned 103. CTV's Leah Larocque was there.
Happy birthday to you. A familiar melody that Margaret Hope has had sung just for her more than 100 times.
I'm 103. I feel about 45.
She's the guest of honor at this tea party at Waterford Retirement Home.
Our love for Margaret is great, though she tends to exaggerate.
Hope came to Canada from England when she was in her 20s.
I came alone and I was a bit scared when I got here.
Losing her first husband, Alfred, when he was in his 50s. Together, they raised 2 children.
She was just a real example all our lives of all the things that we all aspire to be and should aspire to be.
Finding love again with John, who lived till his 90s. Her memories as vivid as ever. Dark ones, like the Second World War.
That was me in Trafalgar Square, feeding the pigeons during the war. My brother took this picture in his pocket. He was a soldier and he had it in his pocket for the whole of the war. He did. He made it.
But bright ones too, like her love of sewing.
My mother was a court dressmaker in England, and so I took up sewing.
She still has her original sewing machine. Margaret continues to sew and knit. She even holds knitting classes right here. And the quilts that she makes, she donates at the end of the year to places like CHEO.
We're celebrating this because she's a pure treasure here at the Waterford.
I've never known anybody more positive about life. I always grew up saying, I want to be just like you when I grow up.
It is often asked, what is the secret to living such a full life? For Margaret Hope, it's simple.
I think if you're kind and good to others, it's a great help.
Leah Larocque, CTV News.
Coming up with Tulip Fest behind us, we're officially into festival season. Details of one happening across the river when we return. Here's another live look through our Centennial Glass sky cam. It is 22 degrees out there right now. And let's take a final check on the weather tonight. A low of 14 degrees when you wake up tomorrow morning, about 15 degrees depending on what time you wake up, but we should be hitting 20 degrees fairly early on in the day and a daytime high of 24, seeing increasing cloudiness throughout the afternoon. And finally for us tonight, the lineup has been unveiled for Festival Parasol at Gatineau's Casino Lac Limi. The opening night includes Phil Lauzon and Tanea Taylor. You may recognize Tanea's name as our Bell Media Weekender or radio host on Pure Country 94. Other performers include Queenie, Mike Clay, and Goodfella, among others. Festival Parasol runs from July 16th to 26th. That is CTV News for this Tuesday, May 26th. CTV News continues online anytime with our digital team keeping you up to date at ctvnewsottawa.ca. You can also watch our newscast live on the CTV News app, and for news on the go, listen to News Talk Radio 580 CFRA. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful night.